Here we are, Champion Builders, the Sports Cafe with Vinroy July, just starting his promotion company, Hard Work Promotions. How's it going today?
It's going fine. I mean, you know, we have the hiccups that come with every fight. You know, as a fighter, I've seen it happening, so kind of had a good idea of what we'd expect. We knew things were going too smoothly, so we had a couple hiccups, but we'll get things taken care of. And end of the day, so long as we have good fights tomorrow, that's really all that matters.
So how is it jumping into the promotion business? You really feeling how the aspects of what goes on other than being in the ring?
You know, honestly, this was a learning experience, and to be honest, you know, this was something that I came into boxing wanting to do. I did this because I couldn't get fights, and I was tired of paying exorbitant amount of money for fights and still having to beg promoters. So I figured, as a fighter myself, I mean, I am a corporate lawyer, I should understand the basic premise of business, so let's give fighters an opportunity to fight. We have too many talented fighters in the DMV area for guys not to be able to fight on a consistent basis.
So how many fights you got lined up for the card so far?
Right now we have 7 fights. We have 7 fights lined up. We have some really good, even matchups. I'm very excited to see a couple of them. Actually, you know, we have a guy that was on the Olympic team who's going to be fighting Italo Pereira. I've seen video of him. He's a monster. You know, we have Eric Goldman who's fighting Mark Baltimore. They fought a couple times in the Golden Gloves here. I think Eric won twice. You know, that's going to be a good fight. You know, we have Dylan Heyman and DeVar. Everybody kind of knows the kind of power that those two guys bring. So you're kind of getting a mix of everything. We're going to get boxers, we're going to get Olympic caliber fighters, we're going to get punchers. It's going to be some good even matches, and so I'm excited. You guys should be excited too. It's going to be some good things going on.
So you talked about the type of fights you're going to have. So who put those fights together? You was a part of putting the fights together also?
Yeah, because, you know, to be honest, this is one of the benefits of being a fighter. You know, because I was always on BoxRec looking for fights, I'm always on Make a Fight looking for fights. Fighters see me and know me. Like, some of these guys are guys who like, the trainers are guys who have fought on cards with me, so it was easy for me to get contact information. And once they saw it was Vinroy July, the fighter who they'd seen and heard about before, it was easy for me to kind of just get their contact information. And honestly, as a fighter myself, I think these guys recognize that I understand the struggle. So I'm just trying to give them a chance. You know, I can't cheat these guys, right? That's not my goal here, because I know how it is as a fighter. If you're risking yourself to go in the ring, then you deserve to get a level of respect and a level of fairness that all too often we're not seeing. You know, let the guys prove themselves in the ring. How can I cheat a guy and then know I'm gonna have to go back and see him in the gym the next day or in a week? I'm gonna see these guys again, so it don't make no sense for me to try to take advantage. And to be honest, I keep saying it's like, you know, this is just giving guys a chance to fight. I'm not gonna determine it. They determine it in the ring, and we'll see what happens.
So it sounds like you're pretty excited about, you know, this thing going on with your business and everything. So you're being a fighter, actually being a businessman first, a fighter second. It seemed like you're really excited about getting into your next venture, which is promoting.
Yes, I mean, I tell you, I think that this area should be the mecca of boxing. You know, I mean, let me just throw something out there. We are almost perfectly situated geographically, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you look at you look around, like, what surrounds us.
Exactly.
You have Philly, that's known as a boxing town. New York, that's known as a boxing town. They call it the mecca of boxing in Madison Square Gardens, right? Then you go down south, we know there's a very active boxing community down there, because guys from up here go down to North Carolina and fight all the time. So why are we gonna let them get the benefit of what we're doing? Exactly. Why aren't our hometown fans getting to see our fighters? Why aren't our hometown fans getting to sit behind and actually, like, encourage our fighters and kind of build them up, and they can see the growth? And these fighters, listen, I'm from New York. You know, I'm from New York. I just recently moved to this area. You know, I came in for my job, but I'm from New York. My family's up there. So I go up to New York all the time and I spar with fighters up there. Me and Adrian, you know, gotta shout my coach Adrian Davis out. You know, I love that man. You know, we go up to Philly. We've gone there and sparred in Philly. I go to these other cities, and the reality is, some of my best sparring happens right here. Guys like Alexander Johnson, Seth Mitchell, Maurice Bayarn, you know, Eric Govan. These guys can fight, and they're not getting a chance to fight. They're begging and pleading. Why? I'm seeing like guys like, you know, there's just so many guys that I'm looking at, and as a fighter I can sit back and you can look at a fighter and say, yeah, he has it. And I have more moments of, oh, he has it in Maryland, DC, and Virginia than I do when I'm in Virginia, when I'm in Philly or New York, or when I go down to North Carolina to spar.
That's why I always say we are the nucleus pretty much of the East Coast, because we have so much talent here, right here with championship fighters, top of the line, world-class fighters here.
We have everything.
Exactly.
I mean,
from the bottom to the top.
Look, I mean, you really think about this, right? I mean, think about this. What else could you want in a city? We have championship fighters. We have guys who are on HBO and Showtime. You look at Seth. Look at Manny Taylor, right? Who's like tearing stuff up right now, right? Seth. Maurice Bayarn fought on television. Alexander Johnson went down to Philly and beat Farah Ennis, who is now recognized as one of the best super middleweights in his hometown. Right? So we have the top-notch guys.
And
right?
we got the most.
And then we have amateurs.
Yeah.
These amateur guys are killing it. You look at the new crop of guys that are coming at, the Dusty Harrison, the Jerry Odom, you know,
Kevin
the Ronaldo
Rivers, all
Gaines,
those guys.
Kevin Rivers, all those guys. Those guys are doing some great things right now.
Yeah.
And they're coming up and they're building them, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to do to build themselves up so they can eventually take over the spot of, you know, the Seths and the Alexander Johnson. And then, you know, you have guys who, you know, I like to put myself in there, you know, guys who are just trying to make this work, you know, we're still
You're hanging in there, yeah.
We're just trying to bust it out, right? That's what we have it on at every level. So why not take advantage of it? So start matching some of these fights the right way. You make it out of here. That's what they do in Philly, right? Yeah. They fight in Philly, and you make it out of there. You can fight. Just make it out of Maryland.
As a businessman and as a promoter now, you can really bring your business side into the boxing game with the smartness of trying to collaborate with other promoters to try to bring bigger and better fights here. So is that what you're basically trying to do?
Listen, one of my big things, and I keep saying, I've actually put this on your Facebook page. The problem in Maryland and DC and Virginia is that we keep fighting over scraps. But the problem is that the quality of fighters aren't the scraps, right? They are scraps because we're fighting so much that we're tearing. You can't put together a consolidated show, so it's all scraps, and everybody's fighting for the little bit that's left over. If we were to actually try to consolidate and put together a real show and not be trying to be, who cares about, I've said this about, this is a universal truth for me in terms of my boxing and my promotion. Okay. Who cares about being the best fighter or the best promoter in Maryland? Who cares?
Exactly.
What, so you're the big man? Everybody's a man. When I was in Bronx, we used to always say, everybody's a man on their own block. Or everybody's a man in their own hood.
Yep.
You can have that. That's not my, I'm not battling for that. We want to build this, you know, I'm not even saying that, you know, we want to build this area. I believe that we can compete with any other area. Now you hear all the talk about Philly and California as a place. No, Maryland, DC, and Virginia. Look how many good fighters we have around here. We have good fighters that are sitting on the bench, not fighting for years. Literally. Yeah. Literally. Alexander Johnson, I don't think has fought in over a year. You know, Maurice Bayarn ain't fighting no more. And one thing that we do need to do though, and this is one thing, and I know you agree with me, we'll only be able to do this if our fans start supporting the fighters. If you lose, the fighters need, I want the fans to really rally behind us. You go to Philly, you know, a guy like Garrett Wilson, when he was going abroad to go to Alexander Alexiev, to go fight Alexander Alexiev, from what I understand from Livy Cunningham, who's Steve Cunningham's wife, all the fighters from Philly went there and rallied behind him before he left. That's what's on our Facebook page. You know, that's what we need to do.
That's my biggest thing. That's why I got into this sport, and the position I got into it, and the reason why I got into it is because I recognize it is so much talent right here. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's so much talent right here in our own area in driving distance, and we have venues that we can pack out and have top shows, top HBO shows, Showtime shows, with no problem.
Absolutely. I mean, let's really just run down the list of. This is not even, there's no way I'm going to capture everybody. But first of all, you have Lamont Peterson, the Peterson brothers, right? Then you have, you know, people like, as I said, Manny Taylor, who's right there right now, right? Then you have guys like Alexander Johnson, you know, Seth Mitchell, right? Then you have the guys, the other younger guys that are coming up, you know, like the Day-Days, the Danny Kellys, you know, the Kevin Rivers, and all the list of other guys that we talked about. You have guys like Tony Jetta, who's now ranked 50th in the WBC.
Exactly.
What else do we need? We have Brandon Cole, Cecil McCullough, you know, guys.
The list goes on and on, you know.
How can you stop?
Exactly.
We have so many, and that's what happens, right? That's what you have to think. These guys are leaving Maryland. Like, how many fights are there in Maryland or DC or Virginia?
And to add to that,
only the same guys that are fighting on these cards.
Yeah, and to add to that, we have fighters that started here and branching out to even make DC even more popular because they're from here. Because you have Top Dog Williams who's fighting.
Oh yeah.
You know, go to California, Vegas, everywhere. And that's what makes DC and Virginia and Maryland stand out, because we have fighters here that they are recognized from outside the state to go fight. We have Dusty Harrison about to fight in Delaware.
You mentioned Gary Russell.
There you go, Gary Russell. Exactly. Always fighting out of town, you know.
We have so many, and that's the thing, right? We can get into the point that we can build so that we can fight. Not to say that, you know, we want to build twofold. Right? We want to build so that we can bring fights in this area. If you have as much talent, you tell these guys, listen, we put all of these guys on one card.
There you go.
Give us money to do the venue.
Exactly.
This is what we do, right? So you have that. But then you also, you know, as a fighter, at some point you have to learn to go out of town.
There you have it.
Right? I want these guys to be able to go out, and we'll build them there too.
There you have it. Finroy July, Hard Work Promotions, working to expand the DMV area with more talented fights.
We're looking to collaborate with other promoters also.
There you go.